All right, so this is our 2013 Solera by Forest River. We call it Sunny. And here we go. We'll start right up here. These do not move. So they don't flip back out of the way. They don't flip any other way. So these are stationary, so please be aware. The step here, it's an automatic step. When you close the door, it will close on its own. There is a switch right inside the door. When you're at your campground, you can actually flip this switch, and we can see more about these switches when we come inside. But this switch here just makes it stay stationary. So it will be open for you when you're at your campsite. You have to remember that before you leave, make sure that is retracted. The door is pretty easy. It's got a handle here to close your screen, and that keeps the bugs out. And then you have two locks. You have a deadbolt lock here, and you have a handle lock here. This key is for the handle lock right here. It's the round key, and then the brass key, square brass key with no black plastic on it, so to show you the difference, is your deadbolt key. All of the other latches that are locked are off of that square black plastic key. So we can just go right around the unit, show you everything. This is just your first storage area. We use it for the wheel chocks and a mat. 110 outlets for when you set up for your campground. This has flashers. If you do ever have to pull over, you can put these flashers out. Extra disposable gloves for when you're working with your black tank and your wastewater. Just some odds and ends. This is a tablecloth for your campground table. Also, if you ever have any fishing poles or longer items, there is a pass-through in this storage area, but you have to watch for the slide out. Make sure you don't have anything in the way of the slide out. Here is the hot water tank, and right under here, the hot water tank runs off of propane or electric. And right under here is the switch to switch it to electric, and it's just an on and off toggle switch. If you switch it to on, it will draw off the electric power of the campsite, or if you want it to work off of propane, you just switch that off and you open your propane tank. This is your hatch for the generator, and you won't need to get in there at all. Storage area. And in your storage area, we have a pop-up tent, 2 camp chairs with covers, and then this is a mat that spreads out over the entire floor of the side of the camper. And there's also a little storage box that has stakes that you can stake it down. And there's a deep well here for a cooler if you have it. And there's also a light. If it's dark, there's just a toggle switch here to operate this light for in the storage area. We do have a hitch. Please do not tow anything with our RV. But if you have your own bike rack or something like that, feel free to use it. Please do not get on the ladder. There's no reason for you to be up on the roof. It's sort of the most essential of all of your systems areas right here. You have the gray water and black water tank drain. You also have your electrical here, so we'll start with electrical. Surge protector, whenever you are at the campground or plugging in, if you do have to plug in at home for any reason, please use the surge protector first. Plug into your 110 extension cord with that adapter. At the campground you won't need that, so you just tuck that back up in there for safekeeping and just plug this right into the post at the campground. You will see it light up green. As long as everything lights up green, you're good to plug the RV into the surge protector.
Okay, and that's 30 amp.
It is 30 amp, correct. You just feed your cord through here, And then this door just pops right back down. And you can see there's also a little sliding door on that. So when the cord is there, you just push that door back to open up the little hole and then pop it back down. Your city water hose is in this very next hatch right here. So this blue hose with the water filter and the pressure gauge right here, this is what you'll use for your city water or filling up your water tank. Come right up through here and just hook it right up. Now when you're at your campground, that will give you your water service directly from the campsite. You don't really have to take any of this apart at all. That's your city water. Here's your black water tank flush. So when you're flushing out your sewer, you will use these two levers right here. This is your black water tank lever, and this is your gray water tank lever. So black water is your human waste. So that's from the toilet. Gray water is from your shower, from the sinks. So you want to make sure that when you bring the RV back, and I will quickly remove this.
Twist out?
Yep, just twist right out. Totally empty black water tank. And that is how it needs to be returned. A totally empty black water tank. And the gray water tank needs to be empty as well. So we have gloves also up here. This is everything you'll need for your black water tanks. And we have two identical sewer hoses. You'll probably only need one, but we have two. And then this is your sewer line input into the ground. And some campgrounds make you use this donut, so we have that included also.
Yeah. So at the black tank flush station at any RV park, there would be a hole in the ground, and that would connect into the hole in the ground.
Yep.
And then this hose here would connect into that.
And we'll show you all that. There's some campgrounds that make you use this if you are hooking up, if your campsite has a sewer hookup right there at your campsite. You can actually use this to angle your hoses down into the sewer line into the ground. So you just connect your sewer line right onto these plastic pins and just twist it on. Just like that. And you're good to go. And then on this end, exact same thing. You just twist it right onto those pins and you're ready to dump. You just run that into the hole in the ground and then again pull your black water tank valve, and then you can run your gray water out and kind of flush everything out. What you want to do is run the black water tank flush. So this hose is in that far storage bin with everything else that goes along with your black water. And you just want to hook it right into here. And this hose is only used for black water flush. Do not use this hose for anything else.
So the blue, solid blue hose is for your fresh water, and the
white hose with the blue stripe is for your black water, and it will be in that same storage area with all the same stuff. So a lot of times I won't even have one of the hoses out while I'm doing black water. I just have black water stuff all together, so I'd never get it confused. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll hook up to your black water flush, you'll turn on the hose or pull the spigot nozzle, and you are going to hear a little rotary head inside the black water tank cleaning everything out, spitting in there and really getting everything down to where you can flush the rest of it. So then once you do that, let the valve be closed while you're doing that, and then open it back up and it will flush everything out again. And that's how you get the black tank really clean. So make sure you do that. Water tank for in the RV, depending on what you're doing, you probably don't want to fill this all the way up if you're driving any sort of distance. I always like to fill it up just enough to get us where we're going to go as far as washing hands and toilet use. You just pull off your cap, run in your hose, and again, this is the same freshwater hose that we're using for the campground water.
Yeah, but the water going into the RV is perfectly fine.
Absolutely. You want to make sure at your campground that you're only using fresh, clean, good, potable water for the freshwater tank and for your city water coming into the RV. So anything you're going to touch, potable water or fresh from your spigot at home. So for using the stabilizer, you want to get your key fob. There's only one key fob. It's one set of keys. Okay. So you just hit the on and you'll see the little blue light light up. Okay. So to stabilize the RV, you push the extend and just hold down on the button. You may see one leg come down faster than the other. That's perfectly normal. So you want to be as flat as you can possibly be at your campground before you do this. So then once they both hit the ground, it will come up. So come up to where it's raised the RV up off of the ground a little bit. You're just using these as a stabilizer. Mostly you want to be level when you're at your campsite. These will just help a little bit. It is only a 2-point system, so be aware of that. And that will make it so the RV doesn't rock side to side when you're coming and going from it. So to retract them, you turn it on and you just hit the retract button. If it stops, just keep hitting that button. And when it stops, it stops. Okay. And just hit the button.
So, important note here. Back the RV, always do a walk around before you put the vehicle into gear.
Yes.
Make sure this is up and everything around the RV is closed and out of the way. So what runs on propane in the RV?
So on propane, your cooktop, your oven, your refrigerator can run on propane, and your hot water heater will run on propane. Also, your furnace will run on propane.
What about the generator? What does that run?
Generator also runs on propane. The gauge shows full here, and the light will show full on the panel inside the coach also. And you just unscrew it right here. It's just a normal bottle valve. So screwing to your right, righty-tighty, is going to close the valve off. So when you want to use your propane, screw it to the left.
And then you can fill up propane at any U-Haul, moving and storage location, and most large gas stations will do it as well.
Or an RV location. Here's the fuel door right here, and you can see ultra low sulfur diesel, and you can see it's marked diesel here, it's marked diesel on the cap, it's marked diesel here, it's marked diesel on the dash, diesel only. One good thing you can do is you can close the door and still have access. You can still continue to pump and lock your doors.
Let's show them where to pop the hood.
Okay. So if the DEF light comes on, you pop the hood right there on the left. You'll hear it. And there is a button just to the left under here. And the hood will stay up on its own. On the dash, that will come up if it's low. Otherwise, you can always add it. If there is a DEF nozzle at the station that you're at, you can always use that. But DEF only in this container right there. This is the only place DEF goes. It doesn't go in with the antifreeze, it doesn't go in with oil, DEF only right in there. This container holds 2 gallons, I believe.
This just has a simple locking mechanism right here.
So you just lift up on the hood a little bit, you'll see it come back, and you just push back on that lever to release the catch, and then you can close.
All right.
So here's your control panel. So this controls the lights and all of your services, like your generator right here, and we'll go through that. Ceiling lights right here, living room and kitchen lights. Arctic pack, we'll go over that. Water pump, water heater slide, and this is for a light on the outside over the black water station along with your electric station. So you can turn that on when you get to the campground if you're there kind of late. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open it up in here a little bit and just hit the slide out and let off the toggle switch. So when you're going down the road, you can't use any of the household outlets like you'll see up under here. What you can use though are 12-volt outlets, where there are some up in the cab and there's also one back here. So if you needed to charge your phone or charge your iPad, anything like that, there's an outlet right back here for that. And then right here in the bedroom area is your AC and furnace controls, and there's just a thermostat on this wall right here. So I'll turn the light on back here. So it's really easy. It's a one-touch operation pretty much. So you'll just scroll through. So first you have a fan, and then the AC, then the furnace, which operates on propane, and then the heat pump, which operates on electric, and the heat will come out. The difference between a heat pump and the furnace is the heat pump will actually send hot air through the ceiling vents, and the furnace will actually send the hot air from the vents on the floor. Obviously, if it's colder, you'll want to run the furnace because it'll be not only more efficient, but also heat more quickly. The heat pump is more for when it's in the 40s and above. Anything below that, go ahead and run the furnace. And you just adjust your temperature, plus or minus, on the right side.
Okay.
Easy as that. All of the extra bedding is all up in here, bedding, and then the trim pillows, sheets. There's some tubs up in there if you want to put your, I know we use those to put our phones in when we're going to sleep. And then these, there are 3 vents. You just roll them up or close them down. And these vents can be open when it's raining because each one of the vents actually has a max air cover on them. So water can't actually come down in. All of the air comes from the back of that vent cover. You can also, if you want to get a little bit of privacy, close this door, and it just clicks right into a knob here on the trim.
Okay.
Bathroom, pretty normal operating procedure here. One thing about the shower nozzle, it does have a shutoff on it. To flush the toilet, you just push all the way down on the pedal, and you want to have about at least an inch of water in the toilet, and to get that water in there, and that's all the time, and that keeps any kind of fumes or smells coming up through the toilet. But just keep a little bit of water in there. That keeps the gasket wet, and it also keeps any fumes from coming up. Bathroom sink light, shampoo, body wash, and then under here we've got additional toilet paper,
Towel.
extra towels. This is black water tank treatment, and just cleaning wipes if you need those for anything. So wardrobe and pantry, and a fly swatter. So feel free to use these bins in here. We always put our hanging clothes in here, our shoes in the bins, and use the drawers for clothes. And then over here in your pantry, you keep this block in here just to make sure this doesn't slide when we're driving. It also has a latch right here that you'll need to release, and then this pantry slides all the way out.
All right.
Yep. So pantry, and then all your utensils, knives, can openers, wine bottle openers. odds and ends, utensils, and then some pins and some additional napkins. Storage on both sides, and this is just odds and ends. We've got a lantern right there. We've got an umbrella and just some towels if you need to towel your dog off or anything like that. This is just additional bedding for overhead.
Okay. And then what's up here?
This is more storage.
Okay.
Laminated sheets here with information, and this is something obviously if you guys want to do something like this or have them,
Want them to call you.
they can call us if you guys have any questions. I don't mind at all. Little first aid kit, and then if anyone wants to just make a notation of their journey that they're making in the RV, feel free to write in there. We've had some really good responses in there. And I'll just show you real quick how the dinette goes back into a dinette. Obviously it's in its bed position now.
So we got 2 seat belts right there.
So we have baby seat straps here and also seat belts. So this is the other 2 positions besides the 2 captain's chairs. So just raise it straight up, and then underneath here there's a lever with a black tip on it. Just lock that in, and now your dinette is stable. And there you go, you're ready to eat breakfast. The windows, just turn these knobs to crank out and then crank right back in. Same there, and then same there. And then the back glass, only one side opens, and only half of that opens because there's actually an emergency hatch back there, emergency escape hatch. Okay. This window is the only one that actually slides up, and you just unlock it here and slide it up until you hear it catch. And then to release it, you just push back on the catches and slide it back down. Touch this bar here and pull down. It's not a difficult pull, just a nice even pull or tug, and that's all she wrote.
Okay, so what do we got? Microwave and
Yep.
oven.
So
over that in the storage below.
yes. So I'll get that out. So cutting board, dish drainer, aluminum foil, stretch wrap, recycling, trash, dustpan. There's also a step ladder if you are like me and need that. Additional trash bags, liners they call them now. The sink operates just like a normal sink. Comes out, you can turn it to a spray or your regular hose, sponge, pretty basic. The microwave, it's going to work just like a normal microwave when you're plugged in. Obviously we're not plugged in now. If you saw some lights on the panel, we'd be plugged in, but steamer in there for you. It does have a rotational tray. You may check it when you get to your campground just to make sure that that tray is on the rotator. Otherwise it's not going to work, but that's probably what it is if it's not spinning. And just normal microwave operation. Here's the fan and a light for the hood vent. Now for the fan to work and actually suck air to the outside, you'll have to open a vent outside, and I'll show you that again. Cooktop, propane has to be on. and then it works just like a Coleman camp grill for the cooktop. Okay. You'll turn it to light. You can hear it. Just turn the sparker.
That doesn't use the lighter.
And there we go. 2 of them will work. This one back here is a little bit more particular. So this one works, and this one works off the sparker. And this one back here, unfortunately, we'll try it and see if it's decided it doesn't work. So just light that one individually.
Okay.
So that's the cooktop. So to light the oven, you'll need to light the pilot light on the oven first. So turn the knob to pilot on. And sometimes you'll need to push on for the gas to start flowing. And you'll see right up underneath here where the lighter is touching, that's where the pilot is going to come on. And you'll just need some happy editing. There it is. So you can see the pilot is on now. And once you're at your campground, if you are going to use the oven quite a bit, you can leave that pilot on as long as the propane is on. Now to light it, to set your temperature, you just turn the dial and you'll see it underneath there. You'll see the burner catch. And you're ready to cook. And then if you are going to use your oven continuously, just turn it back to the pilot on setting, and then that will just leave your pilot on, so you won't have to relight it every time.
Okay, refrigerator.
The refrigerator works on propane or electricity. So you'll turn it on. If you want to run it on propane, you'll hit this button, and it'll say auto. And that automatically is going to start cooling with propane. If it ever says check, that means either you're not hooked up to electricity or your propane is shut off. One of those 2 things. So if that lights up, just hit the buttons again and just make sure that check goes off. If that check light's on, it's not going to be working. If that check light is off, you're cooling. So here's your freezer. And there's your fridge. And it actually, just heard it catch. If you cool it overnight, it actually works as a really big cooler. So if you're only going an hour or 2 away from your home when you're leaving, you don't really need to worry about it being cold, because it's going to stay cold until you get to your campground. And that's usually how we do it.
Alright, so what's up there?
So let's do the rest of the control panel here. Okay. So we'll start with right up here in the upper right is the generator. So we'll prime it to make sure that there's fuel getting to it. And you'll see the hours will come on. And it shows 103.2 right now. It's got a fresh oil change on it, so it's good for another 100 hours. And then you just hit the start button and it's running.
Let's say you do your generator.
Yep, generator.
And then to turn your generator off, you just press off. Right.
And you'll hear it stop running. So your water heater, you can run your water heater on electric or propane. If you're running it on propane, you just want to flip the switch.
Okay.
And you will hear the propane catch. And the water heater is right behind the refrigerator here. And if that light stays on, go ahead and flip the switch again. But if it goes off like it just did, it's heating water now. And if you're running on propane, give it about 5 minutes and you'll have hot water. If you're running it on electricity, it's going to take 15 minutes or so. It takes longer with electricity to heat it up. And then make sure you turn that off. Water pump, anytime you want to run water through your shower or your sinks or toilet, you'll need to hit the water pump unless you have city water coming in. If your city water is coming in from your campground, then that's providing the water pressure. If you're using the freshwater tank, you'll need to use your water pump. And as long as it's lit up, it's working, and you can actually hear it on right now. Listen close. Your Arctic pack is heaters for your black and gray water tanks. So if you're going to colder climates, go ahead and turn that on, and that light will light up once it reaches below 40 degrees. We're in a balmy 80-degree Dallas right now, so it's not going to come on, but anything below 40, that Arctic pack will start heating those tank warmers. And that keeps everything nice and warm, won't freeze those tanks. Turn it back off. Living room light, kitchen light, outside light, and then your slide-in switch.
Okay.
Here is your gray water fuel level, black water fuel level, which shows empty. Fresh water, oh no, that's not fresh water. That's your fresh water, which shows empty also. Your battery and your propane, showing full on propane. Okay, so storage up here, we've got a 2-cup coffee maker. It says 4-cup, but it's actually only good for 2 actual cups of coffee. There's also a single cup coffee maker, your toaster, and then your electric tea kettle. Pots and pans, skillets and lids. And we already went under there. Up here, all of your bowls, wine glasses, insulated mugs. So up here is your TV controls. So your remote controls for the DVD player and the TV are under that little basket there. Upper bunk. Just flop that down. Step off there. Get your ladder up right there. There you go. The windows do open on either side of the overhead. Close all the windows before you go down the road. You'll save yourself some headaches.
So if you ever end up with electricity not working and you don't know why, this is right beneath the oven. Just check your breakers here. You might trip a breaker. So if that happens, you just flip it off. It's right back on. It has everything listed here.
Just hit this lever here. These spin all the way around, and then you can slide it back, and they're fairly low. You can pump them up. So this gives you a couple of other seating options. One thing I am going to show you, which is a little confusing, is the parking brake. The parking brake is actually made to be engaged, but also go out of the way, so that you can spin this captain's chair around. So to do that, it's actually still engaged, but you can see it's loose, so you can push it down out of the way. To disengage it, the seat has to be in the driving position, and you have to bring it all the way up, lift it up, push the button in, and then go down. And now it's disengaged. You can actually lift it up and hear it click. And then if you push it down out of the way, that's just to get it out of the way. So you'll bring it back up, lift it all the way up, push the button, and down. And now it is disengaged. Fire extinguisher, seat belts adjust, right there. And then here's your smoke detector, carbon monoxide and LP detector. Okay. So you see here is your daytime running lights, lights off, lights on. I always just keep that on. Here is your brights, push for brights on. Here's your windshield wipers, push in for fluid, turn signals, right, left. This is your cruise control, and here's your shifter knob, and if you can see there, it lights up to what gear you're in.
Okay. Okay.
So the mileage today is at 49,531, and Mileage is noted on paperwork and through the apps, whichever you use. And there is 100 miles a day included. Anything over that is charged 35 cents a mile. When you put it into reverse, it's automatically on the screen here going to bring up your reverse. There it is right there. There's your reverse camera.
Okay.
And the gear selector will light up with whatever gear you put it in.
All right, go ahead.
So here is your iPod USB ports. You can charge through there, also connect right to the stereo and GPS. Under here, there is a 12 volt, and in here, there's a cigarette lighter for another 12 volt.
All right, so
Just for such emergencies.
awning. What's flight, flight, and step?
So, step is the automatic step.
Okay.
Porch light is
Okay.
the orange light right outside there for when you're at the campground at night. And this is a floor light. So there's a light here and there's a light in the bathroom, just night lights.